This part of the year always depressed me. Every year, people treat Mariah Carey like she's the queen of Christmas, and once the season ends, they put her away like she's some Christmas tree. There is so much more to Mariah than just the holiday season, and this is where I come into play. Today, I want to go through the bio of Mariah Carey to get a proper understanding on who she is. So without further ado, this is Mariah Carey, More Than a Christmas Queen. Before we begin, if you want to see music bios or more good videos like this, hit the subscribe button. And without further ado, on to our feature presentation. Mariah Carey was born on March 27, 1970, or 69. The sources are very inconsistent with her birth year, in Long Island, New York. Her mother, Patricia Carey, was a vocal coach and opera singer, and that's why Mariah has her extensive vocal range. And her father, a Venezuelan and African American descent, was an aeronautical engineer. Mariah was the youngest of 3 siblings. It was said she got her name from the song they called The Wind Maria from the 1951 Broadway musical Paint Your Wagon. Growing up was not easy for the Careys. Being an interracial couple, the Careys were frowned upon in their community. Patricia was disowned by her mother, their family dog was poisoned, and their car was set on fire. At the age of 3, Mariah's parents got a divorce and Mariah will be raised by her mother. She will have little to no connection with her father. At the same time, Mariah was taking an interest in operatic music, so her mother enrolled and gave her vocal lessons. By the time she was in high school, she took a job as a demo worker. After high school, she moved to Manhattan and enrolled in cosmetology. Also, she worked odd jobs as a waitress and coat check girl to pay the rent while still working as a demo worker at night. Mariah caught her first big break becoming a background singer for Brenda K. Starr. The two would quickly become friends, and she would take Mariah to high industry parties the labels would hold. In one party, she had her demo tape in hand and wanted to give it to Jerry Greenberg, but Tommy Mottola of Columbia Records got his hand on the tape instead. He fell in love with what he heard and wanted to sign her, but Mariah had disappeared into thin air. Mottola would describe this appearance as a Cinderella moment as he spent weeks looking for her. He will eventually find her and have her signed to Columbia Records. Tommy Mottola will make Mariah Carey the leading lady of Columbia, similar to Arista having Whitney Houston as their leading lady. In June 1990, Mariah Carey released her self-titled debut album. The month prior, she released her first ever single, Vision of Love. The lyrics represent her past life filled with alienation and how she had dreamt of achieving her triumph over adversity up until the moment when it finally comes to fruition as this vision of love that she always believed in, despite everything she had to deal with in life. The song was praised by critics as it was something that they never heard before. The song also became her first #1, get used to that. Other #1s off that album included Love Takes Time, Someday, and I Don't Wanna Cry. And with this, Mariah became the first solo artist to have their first 4 songs go #1. Mariah's debut album was also a commercial success, going 9 times platinum. This era also saw 2 Grammy wins, which included Best New Artist and Best Female Pop Vocal Performance for Vision of Love. Despite her successful album, Mariah refused to go on tour, stating it would be bad for her vocals. So instead, she wasted little time recording her follow-up album, Emotions, with it being released in September 1991. Headlined by the title track, the song talks about the highs and lows of Emotions. Emotions is one of the hardest songs to perform as it exercised her signature whistle register. But despite this, the song went to #1 on the Hot 100, her 5th. Other songs included Can't Let Go, which became her first non-#1 single as it peaked at #2. And Make It Happen, which peaked at #5 as Emotions went 4 times platinum. In 1992, Mariah was featured on MTV Unplugged. There, she covered the Jackson 5 classic I'll Be There with singer Trey Lorenz. Like the Jackson 5, this version also charted #1. The music kept going from there. In August 1993, she released Music Box. While her first 2 albums linked to the adult contemporary audience, Mariah wanted to push this for a mainstream audience. And she got that with the lead single Dreamlover, which samples Blind Alley by The Emotions and Ain't No Half Steppin' by Big Daddy Kane. The song of course went to #1. The next single was a ballad called Hero. Hero talked about feeling discouraged at times. In those times, you will view yourself as heroic if you could look inside. You will find the strength to find the way. Hero went number 1 in various countries. Other singles off her Music Box album were Without You, and Anytime You Need a Friend, as Music Box became her first album to achieve diamond status. Remember near the beginning of Mariah's journey where I said Mottola compared Finding Mariah Carey to Prince Charming finding Cinderella? Well, Prince Charming at age 44 ended up marrying young Mariah at age 23 in 1993. The two started dating back in 1990 when Mariah was working on her debut album, meaning Mottola was dating a teenager. Gross. After their marriage, they moved into their custom-made mansion, which Carey dubbed it Sing Sing. In November 1994, Mariah released her first holiday album called Merry Christmas. In the album, she covered old hymns with 3 new songs. One of those songs was All I Want for Christmas Is You, a Mariah Carey original, and that song peaked at number 5 at the Hot 100, which was a rare feat for a holiday song at the time. And her Christmas album became the highest selling holiday album of all time, going 8 times platinum. This song will be important later on in the video. For now, in 1995, she released her 5th album, Daydream. The album saw her work with a wider range of producers, and that caused a strain with her and Tommy Mottola's relationship. The lead-off single was Fantasy, which uses the Tom Tom Club's Genius of Love sample. The song became the 2nd overall song to debut at number 1 on the Hot 100. The song would later be remixed by Sean Puff Daddy Combs and feature Wu-Tang Clan member Old Dirty Bastard. The next single was One Sweet Day featuring Boyz II Men. The song speaks about the death of a loved one and how they took their presence for granted, and this song was inspired by the AIDS epidemic. The song was a massive success, debuting at number 1 and spending 16 weeks there, which became a record until Luis Fonsi's Despacito tied it in 2017, and Lil Nas X broke it in 2019 with Old Town Road. Yet the Macarena beat it out for the top spot on the year-end list for 1996 somehow, but it reached number 1 on the decade's year-end list. The other big single from Daydream was Always Be My Baby, which talked about the controversial topic of having feelings for your ex. Produced by Jermaine Dupri, the song became her 11th number 1 single. Daydreaming became Mariah Carey's best non-holiday selling album of all time, going 11 times platinum. At the 1996 Grammys, Mariah Carey was nominated 6 times, which included Record of the Year and Album of the Year. Heading into the show, many expect her to sweep or at least win Album of the Year. Despite being a performer that night with Boyz II Men, she won 0 Grammys that night. What made this worse was with each loss, the camera showed Mariah putting on a smile to showcase her visible disappointment. Adding on to her disappointment, Mariah's relationship with Tommy Mottola was deteriorating fast. The more success Mariah had, the more controlling Mottola became. She would describe the marriage as being locked away. She stated that she felt controlled by him, and the only reason she married him was out of fear. More things Tommy Mottola did was he had security cameras and armed guards to keep an eye on Mariah for the house she paid half for, and he allegedly threatened her with a butter knife. Mariah had all she took and then some and separated from Mottola. Their divorce was finalized by decade's end, and the mansion that they lived in was burned down in 1999. In 1997, Mariah Carey formed her own label called Crave Records. One of her signees was a girl group named Allure. They released their self-titled debut album, and that album consisted of the Lisa Lisa cover, All Cried Out, where Mariah provided some background vocals. All Cried Out peaked at number 4 on the Hot 100 and pushed their album to gold. Mariah also signed a male group called 7 Mile, whose most known single was Do Your Thing. But her label didn't last, and in 1998, Mariah's Crave Records dissolved. In September 1997, Mariah released her 6th album, Butterfly. For the lead-off single, Honey, it uses the Hey DJ by the world-famous Supreme Team and the Body Rock by the Treacherous 3, as it saw Mariah make a push to the hip-hop scene. The production was done by Puff Daddy, Q-Tip, and Stevie J. The song became her 3rd number 1 to debut at number 1, which set a then record until Ariana Grande broke it in 2020. The song was later remixed by Puff Daddy to feature The Lox and Mace, but the song became more known for her video. Shot in Puerto Rico and directed by Paul Hunter, it shows Mariah escaping a mansion and her goons chasing her. How ironic. At the time of the release, many thought that the video was speculated her and Tommy Mottola's relationship, but both parties denied the coincidences in the video. She then released 2 singles, the title track and Breakdown with Bone Thugs and Harmony, but those failed to chart because Columbia failed to acknowledge them as singles. But they did with My Y'all, and that went to number 1, as Butterfly went 5 times platinum. In 1998, Mariah teamed up with another great vocalist in Whitney Houston on the song When You Believe for the Prince of Egypt soundtrack. Written by Steven Schwartz and produced by Babyface, the song describes the ability each person has to achieve miracles when they reach out to God and believe. The song only peaked at number 15 on the Hot 100. However, the song won an Oscar for Best Original Song, but Carey nor Houston was awarded as that category was a Songwriters Award. With 1 album left, Carey was eager to leave Columbia and remove any trace from Tommy Mottola from her. Rainbow was released on November 1999. The lead single was Heartbreaker featuring Jay-Z, which samples Attack of the Name Game by Stacey Lattisaw. In the video, Mariah is in a dual role and spots her boyfriend cheating on her with another woman, which is Mariah in brunette form, at a movie theater. Now there are 2 versions of this video. The main version doesn't feature Jay-Z because he couldn't appear in the video for 2 weeks as he recently shot a video for a girl's best friend. The second version does feature him rapping in a hot tub. Anyway, Heartbreaker went to number 1, and with this, if not already, no other female artist has more number 1s than Mariah Carey. She added on to her total when she released Thank God I Found You with Joe and 98 Degrees. But her relationship with Columbia was falling apart. Mariah wanted to release the Diane Warren tune, Can't Take That Away, Mariah's theme, as a potential single, but Columbia gave it the breakdown treatment and failed to acknowledge. The album went 3 times platinum, her lowest at the time thanks to Columbia's sabotage. After her Rainbow era ended, Mariah officially departed Columbia Records and became the most lucrative free agent in the music industry. She was signed a lucrative deal with Virgin Records worth $80 million. Her first single release from Virgin was Loverboy, which uses the cameo Candy sample. The song peaked at number 2 on the Hot 100. But when she started to gear up for the release of Glitter, Mariah's mental started to decline. In July 2001, she was hospitalized after suffering a mental breakdown and was placed under doctor's care for 2 weeks. Once out, the Glitter soundtrack was finally released, and 1 month later, the movie of the same name. Both projects were panned by critics, with the latter being a box office bomb and critical failure. After Glitter flopped, Virgin bought out the rest of Mariah's contract. In 2002, Mariah Carey participated in one of the most memorable episodes of MTV Cribs, where she showcased her penthouse, her barely used exercise equipment, and taking a bath mid-episode. In 2002, Mariah Carey signed with Island Records. In December that same year, she released her 9th album, Charm Bracelet. Despite the album containing some of her most personal work, the album was critically panned and the album only went platinum. In 2003, Mariah teamed up with Busta Rhymes on the song I Know What You Want, and that peaked at number 3 on the Hot 100. By the time 2004 came around, Mariah's career was fading away. That was until 2005. That year she released her 10th album, The Emancipation of Mimi. While her previous albums featured themes of love, this album had themes of independence and dubbed by Carey as a party album. Her first single let us know that with It's Like That, produced by her longtime collaborator Jermaine Dupri and Fat Man Scoop. The song peaked at number 16 on the Billboard Hot 100. That followed up with We Belong Together, and the song became her 16th number 1, staying there for 14 weeks, the longest for a solo female artist, and her first number 1 since Thank God I Found You. We Belong Together also charted number 1 on the 2005 year-end list. Mimi was the bounce-back album Mariah needed. The album went 7 times platinum and saw it nominated for 8 Grammys. It won Best Contemporary R&B Album, Best R&B Vocal Performance, and Best R&B Song, both for We Belong Together. But most Mariah fans felt like this was the Grammys apologizing for snubbing her back in '96. In 2006, she released another single called Don't Forget About Us, and that became another number 1 hit for Carey. Don't forget about late nights, laying in the dark and wait. Then she embarked on the Adventures of Mimi, a world tour that saw Carey perform in Africa, Asia, and North America. In 2008, Mariah Carey released her 11th album, E=MC². The lead-off single was Touch My Body, and that song became her 18th number one single, surpassing Elvis Presley for the most by a solo artist.
Touch my body, put me on the floor, twist me around.
As for her album, critics called this out as following the same formula as Mimi and not being transcendent. Despite the critiques, the album still managed to go platinum. In 2008, she married the human rabbit known as Nick Cannon. They first met back in 2005 at the Teen Choice Awards. He then appeared as her love interest on her Bye Bye video, and they tied the knot shortly after. She was supposed to go on tour to promote E=MC², but she suffered a miscarriage and canceled the tour shortly after. Around the same time, she got involved in Hollywood. She first starred in the Lee Daniels film Tennessee, playing Crystal in a leading role. She then made a cameo appearance as a social worker on the Academy-nominated film Precious. And unlike Glitter, this one was met with positive reviews. In 2009, she released her 12th album, Memoirs of an Imperfect Angel. It was headlined by the lead-off single Obsessed, a song that disses Eminem, and here's the long overdue conversation amongst the two begin. The two was rumored to have a fling in 2000, but nothing else became serious. But in 2002, Eminem released the song Superman, where he dropped the line, "What you tryna be, my new wife? What, you Mariah, fly through twice?" And on When the Music Stops, "Before I do that, I bet Mariah to take me back." Mariah then responded with the song Clown from Charm Bracelet. During his anger management tour, Eminem placed voice messages between he and Mariah where she is begging to take him back, and Mariah of course denied the voicemail claims. A few years later, Eminem recorded Bagpipes from Baghdad, where he disses Mariah Carey and her new husband Nick Cannon, and this is where Mariah responds with Obsessed, in which the content of the song is self-explanatory. And if anyone cares, Nick Cannon also responded with I'm a Slick Rick. Eminem then responded with an even more brutal diss track called The Warning, but M got called out for beefing with Mariah instead of his rival MCs like Ja Rule, The Source, Cannabis, so on and so forth. But enough with this feud. Obsessed peaked at number 7 on the Hot 100. In 2010, Mariah Carey released her second holiday album, Merry Christmas to You. There it featured a remix version of All I Want for Christmas Is You, and this album occurred during her second pregnancy. On April 2011, she gave birth to twins Moroccan and Monroe. 2 years later, she joined the 12th season of American Idol. During the show, she will be criticized for her on-air beef with Nicki Minaj. Chalk it up to two divas with high personalities in the same room. And it will be her only season on American Idol. In 2014, Mariah released her 14th album, Me, I Am Mariah, The Elusive Chanteuse. But her relationship with Nick Cannon would end in 2014, and a divorce will be finalized in 2016. That same year, she performed at Dick Clark's New Year's Eve, where it was described as a train wreck. Reason being was equipment issues, with Mariah struggling to hear herself. In 2017, she released the animated film All I Want for Christmas Is You, based on her 1994 holiday tune. The film was a direct-to-video release and recently seen on Netflix during the holiday season. Throughout the 2010s, with streaming platforms on the rise, Billboard made tweaks to its streaming and recurrent rules. Thanks to these rules, All I Want for Christmas Is You has been a chart regular during the months of December, but never reached peaks up into the top 10. All this changed when Billboard tweaked its recurrent rules to allow older holiday songs to flood the charts in December. In 2018, the song reached a new peak at number 3. The next year, 25 years after its initial release, All I Want for Christmas Is You went to number 1, becoming her 19th number 1 single.
I don't want a lot for Christmas, there is just one.
The song will appear at number 1 again in 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023, and made the year-end list in each of those years. In 2020, she teamed up with Ariana Grande and Jennifer Hudson on Oh Santa. Especially in the 2020s, she has been dubbed the Queen of Christmas. That doesn't mean she stopped releasing non-holiday material. In 2018, she released her 15th album called Caution. In 2022, she was featured on the Big Energy remix with Lotto and for some reason DJ Khaled. In 2023, she announced that she was embarking on a holiday tour. Although recent nostalgia have fans linking her to the holidays, her career has been a legendary one. Mariah has been through it all, from breaking through with her original sound, the struggles with Tommy Mottola, finding herself afterwards, the redemption of Mimi, and her icon status. Mariah stands tall, and that concludes Mariah Carey, More Than a Christmas Queen. Tell me what y'all think in the comments below. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.